We're welcoming you all to the first session of Thinkers Tank, first podcast. So, my name is Victor. Look at Victor, no one use this. And this is Moorex. So, good morning.
Good morning.
So, like as you said in our introduction video, the name of our podcast is Thinkers Tank. And the reason for it is to discuss a lot of principles or doctrines that we grew up with, that they taught us when we were younger. Yeah, and there are a lot of them that they tell us that we believe or think is true. But when we grow up, we realize that they are not exactly true. Some things are said to us not because they are truth, but because they are trying to our limit our actions, or how would I put it?
Yeah, our thinking
faculties and all that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if your mom, when we're small, if she don't want you to go out, she can tell you, that place you are going to, they are killing people there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, nothing is happening there. Though they are not wrong in one way or the other, but that's just the reason for our meeting today. So today we have a very interesting topic. Yes. First of all, we grew up in Nigeria.
Yes.
And we all know that Nigeria is how would I put it? Like a country that is divided by religion.
Yes.
Everybody in Nigeria grew up under one particular religion, under one particular instruction. At least 80% of Nigerians youth now, they grow up under one religion or two. If you ask a random youth, are you Muslim? What's your religion? Also, to tell you Muslim
or Christians.
So that is why today we want to start with a very interesting topic, which is what? Religion versus spirituality. So I will be discussing with Moorex, and I want to ask, like, what's your idea on religion? If somebody asks you what's religion, what's your idea? What's your idea? What's your idea on religion?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Biggs. As he said, we want to talk about spirituality and religion. Every contrasting idea about it, the similarities and also the similarities about religion and also spirituality. So the question thrown to me is, what is my own idea of religion? Okay, I have think deep and I've come up with a definition of religion. I think religion is just human effort to know and worship a God. Religion is just, let's quote the word just human effort to know and worship a God. While spirituality, it is God's reflection in man. Spirituality is God's reflection in man. Where religion is the effort that man is putting into to worship and know a God, the spirituality is now the reflection of that God in him. So that is what I understand by religion. And
so that is a very nice one. Like he said, according to what you said, religion is man's effort to know God, to worship God, right? Yes. And spirituality is now the God reflecting himself through man. Okay, so I think that is a nice point, because from the definition it just shows that religion and spirituality they work hand in hand.
Two similar things.
Yes, because when the religion, like you said, the man's effort to know God. Once a man has successfully known God, that is when his spirituality begins. Right? Would you agree to that?
Okay, I would rather have an assertion to that. I personally think we were spiritual people first before we became religious people.
we were spiritual people first.
Yes, before we became religious people.
Okay, and why do you say that?
Okay, I would like to use a very simple example of everybody. When we were very little, when we were young kids, there is this thing that happened. I don't know if viewers also had such experience. If we have such experience, let us know in the comment section. This thing happens that you just sit down, then you start seeing things that would later happen. And when you sit down, you see those things. Sometimes you feel maybe you're dreaming. Sometimes you even have the feeling that the thing is happening. Then maybe after 2-3 days, that same event that you've seen, it now happens. You now start thinking, this thing has happened before now. This thing don't happen yesterday now. This thing they happen again. Those things are spiritual issues. They are spiritual matters that is naturally embedded in a man. Now, either you are from Africa, you're from Asia, you're from the Europe, you're from the Americans, you would have a spiritual origin, even without a religion. That is to say, even the atheists, that is people who don't believe in the existence of a God, have spirituality. How? Because there are different ways they connect to their inner man. So the way you connect to your inner feelings is naturally spirituality. So that is why I could say we are spiritual beings before we became religious.
Okay, so if I will get what you are saying correctly, when a person is able to connect to his inner
being, is spiritual. Yes, it's spiritual. Yes. When you are able to connect to your inner self, you can hear your inner self speak. The Christian belief also says that God is in us. So once you can connect to that God that is in you, you're a spiritual being automatically. So it is natural.
But it is possible. Is it possible to be a spiritual being without being into any religion at all?
Yes, it is very possible. And there are many examples of people who are spiritual beings and they are not religious. For example, now, nobody could really come out now and tell me Elon Musk religion, but he believes in God. He's a spiritual being. And he is not boastful of any religion. Maybe he's a Christian, he's not boastful of that. Maybe he's a Muslim, he's not boastful of that. I have friends also who are irreligious. I'm also irreligious. I don't believe in religion, but I worship God in a Christian way. So, and I'm a spiritual person. So you can be irreligious and still spiritual.
Okay. The thing is leading me to a question.
Okay.
Do you know that there are some people that don't believe in spirituality? They just believe in, would I say, like people that claims to be idealists or realists. They believe in reality. They believe that, like for example, somebody like Elon Musk, not having a religion but believing in God. There are some people that won't see it as him being spiritual. So what do you have to say to that?
Okay, that is why I think the conflict of idea comes in. The problem is that many people can't really differentiate religion from being spiritual. Many people can't really differentiate it. Spirituality is culture. Once you have culture, you are spiritual.
That's culture
of your land. Once you have culture in your land and you practice those culture, it is spirituality. Spirituality, if you can put it up, what is African spirituality? I want to focus more on African spirituality. Yeah, what is African? You see, it goes more with the culture, the belief of the people, natural belief and culture of a particular people. Yeah, let us put it out. See, African spirituality is a holistic way of life that is culture, that includes belief, practices, and values that are rooted in African culture and history. So spirituality is different from religion in the sense that spirituality finds its roots in culture and history. So even if you are an idealist, you are a realist, once you believe in your culture and you believe in history, you are already a spiritual person.
Okay, this definition is for African.
No, this is just the definition of spirituality, but I just want Africa to be the centerpiece of our discussion. This is, if you remove Africa, it is spirituality is a holistic way of life that includes belief, practices, and value that are rooted in culture and history.
African culture and history.
Yeah, I just want us to center our hijack to Africa.
I get the point. I get the
So
point. So that is what we are concluding, or not like concluding. What we are saying, or where we are driving to, is that spirituality is not necessarily, or must not necessarily connect
to any religion.
To religion.
Yes.
Spirituality is just a way of life.
Yes. That is rooted in culture and history.
Yes. Okay, so as we all can hear, I hope we are learning and enjoying ourselves. Like I said, spirituality is a way of life.
Yes.
So that means there's a similarity between culture and spirituality. Like, can you tell us the connection? What connection can we get between culture and spirituality?
Okay.
Since it's a way of life that is rooted in culture and history.
In history. Okay. Culture. Now, religion itself has its roots in culture. Religion itself also has its roots in culture.
Because they actually have rules that make people have a certain way of life.
Thank you. So it has anything that affects the way of life
is culture.
Yes, it's culture. So religion also has its roots in culture. Now, the difference between the two are connected to culture. They are like from the same father, but they are different. The difference between the two is that one is natural.
Which is natural?
Spirituality. It is natural.
Okay.
One is artificial or taught.
And
that is religion.
Okay, religion.
Religion is artificial or taught. How do I get to know this? Have you seen a pastor and an imam dress when they are going to either mosque or they are going to church? You have seen them dress, right? Yes. How do a pastor look? He looks like a white man.
Yes.
He dressed like a white. He's on suit. He's dressing like a white man. That dressing of the suit is what? It's culture. It's a cultural dress of the European. It has nothing to do with his belief. It's just a cultural dress. But if he's not putting on that suit, if he's putting on the way I'm just dressing casually, or you're putting on an NFL shirt, nobody will regard him as a pastor until you are putting on suit and you're putting on tie, and so it's just expressing another man's culture. So it is taught. Religion is always taught. If you see an imam, he looks like an Arab, but he's a Yoruba man.
Yeah.
But he's looking like an Arab. Why? Because he's of his religion. So he has to look that way. He has to look like an Arabian to practice his religion. So religion also is culture. But the difference between it and spirituality is that as a spiritual person, I can be on singlet and boxer and connect with my inner man, connect with God. But religion, I have to dress a kind of way, I have to sit a kind of way to
showcase
that I'm connecting with my Savior. So that is why I said one is taught and one is natural, but they both have their roots in culture.
Wow, that is a really nice one. That's a really nice one. Okay. Let's move on now. I have some few questions here.
Okay.
That we need to, talk about. So, okay, I've talked about African spirituality. I've talked about personal definition of spirituality and religion, which is what you just explained just now.
Yes.
So I don't even look at the book and we're asking
a lot of questions.
So now, we have talked about the similarities between spirituality and religion, right? So now I want you to talk about what differentiates them. Like when they say religion, and spirituality or culture. What is that factor that differentiates both of them? And what do you think? Because okay. What's the factor that differentiates them? Let's start from there first.
Okay, the first factor that differentiates religion from spirituality is imposing of culture.
Imposing
Of culture.
of culture.
Let's go back to a bit of history. Let's go back to a bit of history on how I want to use Christianity as the example because I worship in a Christian way, so I can talk about what I believed in. So let's look at how it came to Nigeria.
How
Christianity came to Nigeria. That is where.
Can I search it on Google so that we'll use it as
Okay, yeah, we can go on. So
okay.
Christianity came to Nigeria in the 15th century through Portuguese Catholic missionaries. The religion grew to be a dominant religion in Nigeria during British colonial rule in the late 19th century. Okay? Yeah. Augustinian and Capuchin Farias from Portugal introduced Christianity to Nigeria, and Henry Townsend established the first mission of the Church of England in Badagry. Samuel Ajayi Crowther became the first African bishop and bishop of the Nigeria territories. Now, I want to pick my story from this place. Samuel Ajayi Crowther. Okay. Now, we all growing up, we learned about Samuel Ajayi Crowther. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was the man who interpreted the Bible from English to Yoruba, this, that. But many people did not tell us how Samuel Ajayi Crowther came about that knowledge.
How it came about?
The knowledge of interpreting the Bible. Because before you can interpret from a language to another, you must have full understanding of the first language. Yeah. So many of us, we fail to ask that question. How did it come about the knowledge of English? So much English that he could interpret it in his own dialect. We just feel he's one kind of brilliant guy. Now they say Sabi book, this and that. No. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was actually a slave.
A slave?
Yes. He was actually a slave during the transatlantic slave trade. He was actually taken. One of the people taking, kids taking there. Then when they got there and stuff, he started working with a missionary who owns this name, Crowther.
Okay.
He was the one who owns that name, Crowther. Yes. And he was the one who also gave him this name, Samuel. So he now started bearing the man's name, Samuel Ajayi Crowther. So this Crowther is the name of the slave master, not his father. So most of the times when they teach us in schools, they cut those parts away. They don't want us to know the origin, the root of what actually happened. They just tell us he interpreted the Bible, he brought missionary, he became the first bishop. But who was he? He was a slave. That was where he was able to get the knowledge of the Bible. Then he interpreted it to his own language. So to show us that the religion itself came as a way of exploiting us. When the Portuguese came, their mission was to trade. That's the first mission. Now, when the British also came, their mission was to slave trade. That was what brought this last transatlantic slave trade, where they exchanged people for gunpowder, they exchanged for matches and all sorts of petty things. You know, they take slaves, trade by barter. Then later, when they are tired of trade by barter, they cuckoo pack everybody.
That's it.
Go. Maybe they go like that. You know, if you see, there are a lot of things that a lot of terrible things were done to them, mouth-guarding children, mouth that they don't want to hear the cries of animals. You know, a lot of evil were done by these same people. Now, when this whole thing was over, the American treaty and everything, and they wanted to put an end to slave trade. So Christianity was used as damage limitation.
Damage limitation.
Yes. It was used as damage limitation. How? How was it used as damage limitation? It's like me coming to your home now. So I kicked your door open, entered into your home, I stole all your food stuff, stole everything, carried your gas, I ran away. So you are now hungry after I've run away. Sapa catch you. There's no food, there's no even gas.
Okay.
Even if there's food. So I now felt, this guy, I took everything from him and he's hungry. So I now saw your son going in the streets. I was like, what happened? Why are you roaming about the streets? People came to our home. They stole everything from us and we don't have anything again. And I was like, okay, yeah, come boy. Take this orange, take this mango, take this agbalumo, sell it. Any money you get from it, use it to eat. You understand? You understand what I just said?
Yeah, I get.
You understand what I just said? I was the one who came to your home to empty your home. Then I now saw your children crying that you don't have food. Then I now said, okay, take. I now empowered them. Like, take this, go and sell it. So that you have money to buy food and eat.
Okay.
Now, if someone who do not know what I have done sees that action, what would you call that action? A kind-hearted man, as a philanthropist, sees a child going astray and decided to help the child. But somebody who had known what I have done would look at me in a different way.
I get it. But I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question. The same people that came for the slave trade, that the same people that came to buy slaves from us.
Yes.
Is there any possible means or proof that they are the same set of people? Or you know that it's possible that me and you are from Nigeria, right?
Yes.
I can go to Ghana and steal from them.
And they say a Nigerian stool.
And you will go to Ghana
to do good.
In fact, I can steal from Ghana, take what I stole and sell to you, and you return it to them. So, is there any chance or any proof that the same set of people, that is me that came to steal, I'm still the same me that came to, or it was a different group entirely?
Okay. I'll give just one proof of that. You know CMS Grammar School in Lagos State?
Grammar School, yes.
Yes. It is a Methodist school, a missionary school. Now, that is the first school in Nigeria, right? Now, do you know what they do in that same place before? Have anybody asked that question? What they do in that site before? That was a slave site. It was first a slave site where they confined slaves before taking them. Then after being a slave site, it became an office where they recruit people for clerical duties before turning it to a missionary school. Everything linked together.
Yeah, they are kind of linked together, but I still think that
I own a house. Let me make it simpler. I own a house now.
Okay.
So I use the house to do club. OS, they come in. Ballers, they enter. The ball, everywhere is sweet. So, on the long run, the neighborhood started complaining of noise pollution. Yeah, now they make noise and they do this and that. It's okay. I stopped using it as club. Then I now opened charity home inside the club in the same house. That's how giving to the neighbors. Neighbors now start jumping. Hey, this man, nice man.
Yeah.
So it's everything links together actually, because the same site where they convert slaves, the same site where they convert slaves, there is one place, I think maybe in Ghana, they call it the point of no return or so. So it's also another site where they take slave through. And now the place is now a tourist center. Ghanaians visit it to remember their forefathers and stuff. So that is just how that site was. So it's a slave conversion site, which most of the times we don't find in history. But if you Google it, Google is also it's people's history that is there. So, but it's actually a slave conversion site that was later turned to an office that was now later turned to a missionary school. So the thing is, nobody is saying it is bad.
What's bad?
That is religion now. Nobody is saying actually it is bad because
wait, before we go there,
okay,
those slave sites, those CMS, like that CMS you use as example.
Yeah.
is it possible that it's because maybe the head of religion, maybe they brought Christianity, for example, to them?
Yeah.
That was why they decided to change. Because, or is it possible that before slave trade started, or when slave trade was going on,
Okay.
have they known about religion before slave trade started? And also, is it possible that those people, like the neighbor example you gave, the neighbor complained? So that means if I thought you changed your clubhouse to a charity, it was because neighbor complained, not because you woke up one morning and decided. So is it possible that those CMS, for example, that was a slave site before, is it possible that because they heard of religion, that's why they started the school, or that since that?
Okay. I understand your question very well.
Yes.
I understand your question very well.
Because we need to be very sure.
Yeah. No.
All that.
What I can say about that is that the first thing you said was, are they religious people before? Yes, they were the slave masters, right? They were religious. They were religious people. They were Englishmen.
But do you have any like proof to that?
Any proof to that? You can Google their names. They all bear Catholic names.
Okay.
They all bear Catholic
Like
names.
for example,
Names of slave masters in Nigeria. If Google can give us some
names
of some slave masters.
or some,
If I hope Google can give us some names.
if
Masters in Nigeria during.
let me use masters in Nigeria.
Yeah, during the slave trade. During the slave trade. The slave trade. I just hope we can get
Let me see.
something.
Some slave masters in Nigeria during the slave trades include Nwapani, Ogogo.
These ones are
which are giving Nigeria.
The whites.
Let me use colonial masters.
Yes. Colonial. Colonial. Yes.
Colonial masters.
Yeah.
Masters in Nigeria during slave trade.
Yes. Let's see if it's going to give us.
The Portuguese paved way for slave trade in Nigeria. There's a rich Nigeria. There are no names of.
So you see, it's not giving us names of those people,
Yeah.
but it gives us where they come from.
Yeah, British.
You see, they are British, they are Portuguese, they are French. So those people are religious people. Those people are religious people. Those people are religious people, and they are the same people who brought Christianity to Nigeria and also to Africa. So those people are religious. The Portuguese, the Spanish, the Dutch, the French, the English. They are religious people. They are people of religion. So they are Christians. These sites are Christians dominated sites.
But Christianity started from Rome.
Not really. No. Christianity actually
officially
it started from Antioch.
No, not that Christianity one that they first called them Christian. Like when it become an official religion. No, Christianity right from time was not a religion. That Antioch one was not a religion. They just call them Christian because of their way of life.
Yes.
But when it became an official religion, where they start to enforce or teach it to people, was from Rome. So
during Constantine,
I mean Caesar, I mean Tindan, no be Caesar.
It was during his reign.
Caesar. That way they call him 66.
That is Nero. Nero was the one persecuting the Christians. Is it him?
Constantine. Okay.
Yeah, he was the one.
Okay.
He was the one. Now, you have seen his edge. That is his head. So, the thing is, it has been before Constantine. And if you check it, it's 306 AD. And slave trade is just 15th century ago. So, I've seen
Okay,
it.
that means Christianity was there before slavery.
Slave trade is 1600. This is 306.
But don't you think it's still possible that they have not known
They have
Christianity?
They have. You can actually search when Christianity got to England, when it got to France,
Okay,
when it got to Portugal.
Our colonial masters were
British,
British.
Rome was the world power in Europe then.
Indeed.
So if you got to Rome, it got everywhere. Christianity get to England. So let's see. Fourth century.
AD.
Yeah,
And that one was
1600.
306.
So this same fourth century. This fourth century. So it got there at the same time. When it got to Rome was when it got to England.
Okay.
So and they brought slave trade 1600. So how many century later? That is like 11th century later.
You know why I still have a question, but you know why I'm asking all these questions?
Okay.
Because I want us to be how would I put it down?
Fair.
That's the perfect word. Because to me, I still feel, because there was one time we had this argument about slave trade between Nigeria. Like if you check, when we check for names of slave masters in Nigeria, the names you showed, all of them were Nigerian.
Yeah, Fosheton, Okuku, yeah.
So is still possible that the same set of people that was involved in slave trade, they are not the same set of people that brought religion to Nigeria? Maybe before they started the slave trade, Christianity have not gotten to them. Or maybe when the slave trade started, they did not buy this slave to maybe really maltreat them. But they actually did maltreat them, no doubt. But it's still possible that when they bought these slaves, their intention was not.
That was that. The thing is, one thing we don't really understand is that slave trade before it came to Africa, it has been most of the times, like in school, we were doing one history. Then we were told our own African leaders taught the white men slave trade. Just like we said now, and it brought Efusheton, Okoko, the likes of those leaders, them. We were told they taught them slave trade. Now, did they really teach them slave trade? That was one question we all failed to ask in that class, which is still paining me to today, because I later discovered that no, they did not teach them slave trade. Somebody will ask me, how? But they were slave trade here, they came here, they met it, they saw it, and no. Because Africa was not the first continent to be exploited by these people. They have exploited the Indians before us. The Spanish has done the same to the Americans before us. So it has been going on. Now, the reason why they discovered Africa was not because of missionary. It was because they were searching a new marketplace
to get slaves.
Yes. Quote me anyway. More say the reason why Africa was, I don't like to use the word discover because it's wrong. You don't discover what's already existing. But let me just use the word discover for English sake. So the reason why they came to, that is the perfect word. The reason why they came to Africa, quote and unquote, was not because of any missionary or education. It was because they were looking for a new marketplace because the old one don't cast.
Okay, those ones don't wise.
They don't fight. They don't collect their freedom. They don't do independent. So they needed a new marketplace. That was why they came to Africa. Now, the fault now of our own people was that it was already existing. Brothers were already killing brothers.
That is
in Africa. Brothers were already killing brothers. It was not as if when they came, they met us in
unity.
One piece, no. Let's be fair. As you said that I should be fair. Yes. Sometimes be very fair now. So it's not as if they met us in one piece per se, but they brought in a more severe way, because there's no part of slavery that is not severe. Yes, even if you are doing house help in this age now for somebody, it's still severe because you won't have your own time. Sometimes you will feel weak and your master will say, go and wash plate, go and wash car, you have to do it. So it's slavery is always severe. Any form of slavery, paid or unpaid, it is always severe. But they brought in a more severe kind of slavery, whereby they had to use iron to guard people's mouth, put chains on their neck, take them naked through the Atlantic Ocean that we all know is very cold. Those kind of things. So religion came in, as I said before. I'm not shifting from the point. I'm still on that point that I said religion only came in as a damage limitation. Now, I think the question I have to now ask myself before you ask me the next question is that damage limitation a good one or a bad one?
A good one to us or to
Yeah, to us now.
us.
Yeah, to us. We are on the receiving end now. So, is the damage limitation a good one or a bad one? Now, let me answer that question with every bit of sincerity in me. It is a good one.
It was a good one to us.
Yeah. A fairly good one.
Okay.
You know why I said that the damage limitation is a good one? Is that story that I used then, that I stole from you, emptied your house, then I saw your children crying on the road. What did I do? I did not give that children food. What did I do to the children? I empowered the children. You understand me? So after all the deed is done, they did not just give us food.
Okay.
They empowered us by giving us not just religion, because education is a product of religion. So they gave us a new religion which brought education, which the education now brought about we having more technological advancement. We could think wider, we could study history easier, because before history was studied mouth to mouth.
Yes.
Folk tales. And we all know that when things are not properly documented, it changes. You understand? So those kind of things, the thing they gave us is the reason why we are here today. Why we could understand that we can trace back to history, we can study this, we can know that. So it's actually a good damage limitation.
It's just like they opened our eyes.
We were not blind.
No, not. I'm not saying we're blind. They opened our eyes to things that we can actually do on our own, like achieve things that we can learn on our own.
Yes, they did that, but why I said it was fairly good was that they did that. And let me give an example of this thing. You will take a banana now. You now put the banana here. Then let me put this down. Then you now put a monkey here. You now put chains in the neck of that monkey. The chain is as long as the monkey can only get here. You understand?
Eats the banana too.
To this place. So anytime when the monkey finish eating this plant, he can't touch this plant. He needs to scramble. He can't eat them because he's on chain. Now he needs somebody now to remove the chain so that he can finish it up. That is what he did. So no how we always run back to them so that they can release small, they can eat small. This small, they can eat small. That is why I said it was fairly good. It was not completely. Why was it not completely? Was some of the teachings, like ancestral teaching, African spirituality. They made us believe that as African spirituality is witchcraft.
But it's actually witchcraft now.
In what way? Now, when an average Nigerian or African hear witchcraft, what comes to your mind?
Yes, because what we see, judging by what we see, that is it. The characteristics of a witch today
is bad.
Is bad.
Yeah.
What they do, what they possess,
is bad things.
What they show,
is bad. Okay, but that
was what we have before they came?
No.
Yes.
I disagree totally.
Because witchcraft, traditional pattern of worship, is what we have.
Yes.
And people believe that, for example, like you say Babalawo, Everybody knows na juju. You no get juju wey go do today, wey go get good.
It's because that is why I said the timing limitation is fairly good. Look at the way you thought now.
No,
It
but
is very wrong.
But that's how it is.
That is not how it is.
That's how it is.
That is not how it is. I strongly disagree.
If we say juju now, because na juju Nigeria, Africa get before.
No, we have African spirituality.
We worshipped idol. That was our.
Yes, everybody worships idol. What is an idol? First, that is the first question you need to know. What is an idol?
Is a representation of God to someone.
Now, what do Christians worship? What do Muslims worship? It's an idol to them too. Because it's the representation of a God.
But the God of those traditional ones, was it God of God?
Yes. God? Now, I love that question. I'm still coming back to that fairly good on African spirituality. Yeah. Now, I've done religion, African spirituality. Now, you said the God of
the traditional
is it the Almighty God?
Because the Christians as case study now.
Yeah.
It's not the Christians that came to Nigeria.
Yeah, Islam
also came.
Yes.
But the Christian as case study now, when they came, they brought God. That's the God.
Yeah.
Jesus, the one they know as real God now.
Yes.
To us.
Yes.
And they burnt our idols.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So my question is, those idols now that they are worshipping as a culture, as a way of life, was it God that worship, or who are they worshiping? Okay,
thank you for that wonderful, funny question. They are worshiping God. That is why I said spirituality is from culture and history. How? It is God reflection in human. When God created Adam and Eve, which we all agree that they are the first men. Now, God created them with no religion.
Yes.
They were neither Muslims nor were they Christians. But they did what? They worshipped God. When they had children, Cain and Abel, which we all believed now that they are the first offsprings, they all worshipped God and they gave offering to God. They were neither Christians nor were they Muslims, nor were they Hindus, nor were they Buddhists. But they did what? They worship God. It just shows that, okay, let me now give an example of somebody, Enoch. The Bible only said Enoch walked with God and
he was normal.
Yeah, he did not see that. But how many people have actually taken time to look at this man that they said he did not die? Before person not go die, sure? He go get his way don't do now. How many people have taken time to actually study about that man? If you study about that man, you understand this concept of African spirituality from the life of, Enoch was a black man. According to description, we were made to know that the first person that looked not like the people that were on earth then was Enoch's grandson. That was Methuselah's son. So, if you look at him, before he could not see death, it means he did a lot of things to please God. Now, was he a Christian? He was not. Was he a Muslim? He was not. Was he a Buddhist? He was not. Was he an Hindu? He was not. Was he a Babalawo? He was not. It just shows that worshipping God, it is more of spiritual than religious. Because worshipping God only has to do with your own personal conviction. God is in you. God is in me. God is in the Muslim. God is in the Buddhist. God is in the traditional worshipper. It is only how you see it that you say it. So our forefathers were worshiping God through Ogun, through their Songo, through Obatala, through Omaila, through anything that you want to call it. So they were worshiping God because that was the conviction that they had. So it is until the foreign religions came in that we started seeing our own worship as barbaric. Because I said something now. we talked about African spirituality. Then you said, how do people see African spirituality? That they see African spirituality as witchcraft, juju. If not be juju, I no go do. So they see it as charms, as like those charms, those juju, those voodoo, like they are evil. We see our ancestors as evil. Most of the times in church, they say, pray against the power of your ancestors. Pray against the power of your ancestors. When I stopped saying that prayer, I read of somebody. Do you watch UFC? Ultimate Fighting Champion. One guy they call Alex Poatan Pereira.
Yeah.
Yes, I please help me bring up his photo, please. Alex Poatan, yes. Alex Poatan Pereira. Alex Poatan Pereira. Please help me. Yeah, please go to images. Yeah, this man. Yeah, this man. Yeah, this man. Yeah, that man there. This man right there. Yeah, just let him do this way. This man right there. Alex Poatan Pereira. I learned something about him. Someone accused him. Jiri Poroshka is a samurai. He's in the UFC. You know samurai? So he's a samurai. He's in the UFC. So they fought. When he fought the first time, Alex defeated him.
That's Alex Pereira.
Pereira defeated Jiri Poroshka. Then when they are about to fight the rematch, Jiri Poroshka now accused this man of using juju, of using charm during their fights. Now people started talking about, media like controversy now, and anything that has to do with juju is evil, as you said now. Pastor Victor. So
yeah, I'm not a pastor. I'm just telling you what people think.
No. That's what people think.
That's what people think.
Yeah, so that's what I want to correct with this story.
And that is the purpose of this.
Yeah. So when he was accused of that, people were saying a lot of things. And there is one guy, Israel Adesanya, Nigerian guy, Easy. This last time our guy. So these two, Easy and this guy, they've been like, which superhero are very, very close, like villain and anti-villain.
Superhero that are very close.
Yeah. They're like Thanos and the Avengers.
Yes.
You get the way they are. That's how this guy is like the Thanos in Israel life. So when they were in Glory Kickboxing, this guy beat Israel twice. Israel will be the one beating him. This guy will later win. He won the first one, he won the second one. Now when Israel was thriving in the UFC, this guy saw him. He came after him to the UFC.
He came after him.
Israel. He beat Israel again. Israel was beating him like baby, was kicking him on the floor. Stand up. But at the 10 minutes, he knocked Israel out again. The same thing repeats itself. So he now fought the fourth time. Then Israel figured him out and he knocked him out. He was the first person and the only person to knock him out in UFC currently. He knocked him out cold, like he was cold on the floor. Now, when they now ask Israel about this guy, when that one accused him, when Jiri Poroshka accused him of using juju, he now said, Alex Pereira only knows how to tap into the power of his ancestors. He now explained the energy from the power of one's ancestor, which he also tapped in to beat him. Can you please help me show the picture of Israel versus Adesanya 2? Just search it and face off. Israel versus Adesanya 2 face off and see how Israel dressed. Israel. Yes. Israel versus Alex. You can just pass Easy versus Alex to make it easy. Versus Alex Pereira 2. 2. No, 2, not 3. 2. Yes, face off. Put face off. Face off. Yeah, that's it. So please help me go to the photo. Go to the photo.
Is it the one?
Yes, this is it.
No.
Yeah, this is it. Look at how Israel dressed. Was putting on what? A dog chain around his neck. The first time he was putting on designer. He was putting on a nice necklace. But you see now, he's putting on a dog chain. Then he's having what Yoruba call irukere. Can you please bring me this visual? This one. This one, this one. Yeah. So I put that. Yeah. So this stuff in his hand is what Yoruba call Irukere.
Or let me look for a video.
Yes, if we can get a video of the face of this. Face of no, this is one. No, this is the first one.
Yeah,
This is the second one. Yes, this is one I'm thinking about. So the Rogan, yes. Now look at Israel. Look at him. He's sitting on a dog chain and he's sitting on what? This thing are kings. King of us. They are king's oaths.
Yes.
You have seen it. You can take visually or you just pause the visual there. So you see what I'm talking about. He also went back to his own ancestry. The way the Yoruba kings, the Yoruba chief priests, what they hold. He went back to his ancestry. Now the dog thing, do you understand the concept of the dog thing? You don't want me to go back to this thing. Slavery. When they change your neck, when you are restricted. Now, he now said he put on that dog thing to show that he is a dog that is ready to be set loose. Just like the way our forefathers were also on dog things. And it is when they set them loose that they have their full strength. So he taps also back. He used the same tactics. If you play that video, you see how the Alex Maria dresses. Play the video.
The same video.
Yeah, in the same video. Can you fast in it? Now, yeah. See Alex Maria. He had something like an Olafala of the Samoans on his neck. Look at him. Look at him. In the first one, he was wearing you can watch this samurai cartoon.
Nice.
Mohican. You have watched Mohican. You see the way they dress. That was how he dressed in the first face off. He dressed and he painted his face like those Mohican people. So he used his own ancestry strength to fight Easy. Now that was what Easy figured out that many people don't know. You know that the skinny Easy later defeated this guy. That was what he figured out. He also went back to his own ancestry. So when they asked him, he was like, no, this guy is not using any charm. He's only tapping energy from what? His ancestors. For us to know that our ancestors were not demons. They are not demons. They are not witches. They are not wizards. They are only people who know how to use nature. There are people who know the usage of nature. If you go to maybe all these celestial church and stuff, they still do those things. They still use natural stuff to heal people, which I love. I don't have any issues with it. Yes, they put this one together, put that one together. You see some churches also, they are also calling it juju. You see some churches, they'll tell you, no, don't go Sedera, don't go Kelubo, they do juju. No, they only know the importance of the roots and herb that God himself created. And he said in the Bible that he created those things for man use. So that is what our ancestors know. Those were the secrets they knew then. That when everything turned, we are now calling it bad. So it is never bad. Our African spirituality was never witchcraft. It was never bad. The juju was not a bad thing. The juju was just people who had basic knowledge of nature and they could use it to solve their problems.
But that was, can you still say that in this our current Nigeria, or that was there?
Yes, it's still very, very much alive. How? Okay, somebody will tell me ritualist, Abi. Who was caught some weeks ago that beheaded somebody. This a Muslim cleric.
Yeah.
The other guy,
He was a church musician.
So you see what he's a minister. So the way evil is happening in the local religion, it is also happening in the foreign religion. If we even look beyond Nigeria and we look back to the history of all religions, most of the religion were spread through bloodshed. The Crusaders, which were a very key important figure in Christianity, killed people who were pagans, who did not believe. Also, if we go back to Islam also, during the jihads, they killed people who were pagans. So it is also evil because God said, "Thou shalt not kill." So it is also evil. So the way they are evils in our own African spirituality, they are also evil. Yeah. So everybody has their own evil. Now who catch thief? They call person thief now. Everybody na thief. Yoruba is say be thief. Thank you. Any lemon bani barao. So like that it be. Everything has evil in it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This is really insightful.
Yeah.
This is really insightful. Sure, we'll come finish this thing today like this, but I still have other questions that I want to ask, but I don't want this video to be more than an hour.
Okay.
And it's already 58 minutes.
So we see our audience in part 2.
Yeah, so when we come back in our next session, we're going to talk about the faults of religion.
Okay.
Because in as much as religion came as like you say, as a damage control, and we also gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
There are also faults in it.
Yeah.
Because religion is a way of life for people.
Mm.
It controls people's life.
Yes, controls their mind.
Controls their minds. Controls how they think.
Yeah, sure.
Controls what they do.
Yeah, sure.
Controls what they believe.
Sure.
Controls what they think is right or wrong.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about the faults in that religion.
Okay.
We are going to talk about what we gain from it as well.
Okay.
How they are using religion to manipulate people.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's actually happening.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, it's happening. A lot of religion, both religions, there are some things that a religious person will tell you to do, and you'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, actually.
You'll be like, shit, this one, they use in sense at all.
Yeah, sure.
You get the point. So there's a way that religion do shape people, do curve people. So in our next we're going to talk about that, and we'll see where we go with it. We'll also talk about the gains, what we gain from it, because there are a lot of gains in religion.
Yeah, sure.
Like
a whole lot.
Because if not for religion,
many things would
have happened. Many bad will get.
Yeah, sure. That's true.
And also we'll talk about the faults of African spirituality.
Yes, where did African spirituality failed?
Because we had our culture and religion before. Africa had its way of life before.
Mm-hmm.
But when those foreigners, colonial masters brought religion to us, it made ours look bad. Today now, if I tell person how go do juju, we'll say But before that was our normal.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll talk about how it failed.
Mm-hmm.
The fault in it, how it failed, and maybe why it failed as well. So
okay.
So for now, we'll be ending this session, and we're happy for what we have achieved, or how we have achieved, or how we have gone through today's session.
Yeah.
But even me, I learned a lot. I knew a lot of things that I heard for the first time. You know, this kind of thing will just make your brain open.
Yeah, open, yes.
Yes, just make your brain open. It will make your eye open. Sure. That was our eye open while the other time. Yes. Make a lot of things that you think you know.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yes.
You get to realize that they are not really true. Yeah. A lot of things that tend to agree with, you tend to realize that they are not really as they said it was. So just watch out.
Yes, stay tuned. We will be back.
And also thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Please share, like,
send gifts.